Committee on Parole is called back to order. The day's date is July the 10th. The time is 8:55. Our remote location is River Bend Correctional Center. First case is going to be Mr. Michael Joseph, which is a revocation. Mr. Joseph, would you give us your full name and DOC number, please?
Michael Joseph, 442-742.
Mr. Joseph, is there anyone there from River Bend in the space where you are now?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Joseph, let me explain what we're doing here. This is a parole revocation. I'm going to read some information into the record. We're then going to cover your revocation questionnaire. I'm going to read the allegations against you, and then we're going to have a hearing. You'll have an opportunity to plead guilty or not guilty to the allegations, and then we'll have a hearing. You have several people here that are willing to testify on your behalf or here to support you. Gertrude Polk, Mary Joseph, and Joshua Joseph are present here to support you. Do you understand our procedure, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Joseph, do you have your probation revocation questionnaire in front of you?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, let's take a look at it if you would, sir. Is that your signature at the bottom of the page on May the 4th of 2023?
Yes, sir.
Now, all those questions accurate, all of those answers to the questions, were they accurate when you filled that out?
Yes, sir.
Are they still accurate today?
Yes, sir.
Do you have an attorney, Mr. Joseph?
No, sir.
Are you willing to go forward today with your revocation hearing?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to read you the allegations against you. Number 4, you engaged in new criminal activity on February the 19th of 2023, which resulted in your arrest by Lake Charles Police Department for the charge of domestic abuse battery. On March the 14th of 2023, the charges were amended to disturbing the peace by fighting, which you pled guilty to at the 14th JDC. How do you plead to that, sir?
Guilty.
And I assume with the statement, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Joseph, your case has been assigned to me. I'll begin the interview process. My notes reflect from your file that you were paroled on September the 28th of 2022 on the charge of manslaughter. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then you were arrested on February 19th in Lake Charles for domestic abuse battery. You indicated that you plead guilty to that and you want to make a statement. So tell us what happened on February the 19th that resulted in your arrest and your ultimately plea to disturbing the peace.
Well, I was in a relationship and I got caught cheating, and things just blew up. The woman I was with.
Well, let's slow down a little bit, okay? How is it that you were with the victim in this case on that particular day?
Well, she had drove from New Orleans to come to Lake Charles and called me with her.
And that's Miss Gertrude Polk?
Yes, yes, sir.
She drove from New Orleans to Lake Charles for what purpose?
To come see me.
Okay, and you were living in Lake Charles?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so tell me what happened when she got there or before she got there. Tell me how all of this started.
Well, I didn't know she was coming. And when she pulled up at the house, I was with another woman.
Oh, okay.
That's when everything took place. You know, I was.
Tell me what took place at the time. You were inside your residence?
No, so I was outside.
Okay.
I was outside and she pulled up, saw me with the other woman, jumped out the car, and we just started fighting. She just attacked me. She just got off on me. And what I did, I turned around and backhanded her. And next thing you know, the police was pulling up. I don't know who called the police. I don't know how they got there that quick, but I mean, I regret it. You know, It's something that shouldn't have happened. I'm remorseful. I apologize to Ms. Polk. This is not something I'm proud of. You know, this is not who I am as a person. I know that parole is a privilege, and I woke up every morning from the day I made parole, and I treated it as such. I worked hard every day. I look forward to working hard every day. My hard work was just beginning to pay off. You know,
How long have you and Ms. Polk been in a relationship?
and we've been together over 30 years. I was with Ms. Polk when I caught my manslaughter charge.
Prior to her coming to Lake Charles to see you, when was the last time you saw her?
It had been like 3 weeks. She would come to Lake Charles whenever she had the weekend off.
Now, when she pulled up in the driveway and saw you with this other woman, whose residence was that? Is that where you were living?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me a little bit about what you were doing after you paroled. You paroled out in September of 2022. This happened in February of 2023. Were you working?
Yes, sir.
Where were you working?
At McDonald's. And I
How
was
hours a week were you
driving.
working at McDonald's?
Yes, sir. I was striving. In fact, I was just up for a promotion on the job. You know, I worked hard. I had an earned employee of the month already since I had been working. You know, it
Were
was a
you in
lot.
good standing with your parole officer?
Yes, sir.
And what were some of the conditions of your parole? Were you to get substance abuse, anger management, anything like that?
Yes, sir.
And were you doing that?
Yes, sir.
What were you taking? What programs were you taking since your parole, since you got out?
The substance abuse, and it was the AA meetings. It
And
was
how often were you going to AA meetings?
twice a week.
Were you drinking on this particular day?
No, sir. No,
You
sir.
got drugs on this particular?
The I don't drink, and the AA meeting wasn't for a drinking problem. In fact, when I made parole, I was before this board, and it was because I told y'all when I made parole about the money addiction, and that was the reason why.
So there was no alcohol or drugs involved in this?
No, sir.
Were you angry at her?
No, sir. She was angry at me. You know, I was the one called cheating. You know, and like I said, I regret it. You know, it was just, I feel like everybody has problems in their relationship. I should have been honest with her from the jump. You know, I'm not proud of this. This is embarrassing. You know, I never
Let me ask you this. Have you had any contact with her since you've been in prison?
No, sir.
She's here today. Do you have any idea what she's gonna say?
No, sir.
So you haven't talked to her? No one's talked to you on her behalf or anything?
No, sir.
Any questions?
Go ahead. You might ask him. Good morning, Mr. Joseph.
Morning.
This was the only violation alleged against you. So apparently you were doing the things that you were supposed to do up until this incident happened.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the current status of your relationship with Ms. Polk today?
We're no longer together.
Okay, and you expect that that's going to be what it's going to be going forward, that you all are going to go your separate ways?
Yes, sir. We have a grown son, so I don't need to be in contact with her to keep in touch with my son. My son is 26.
Right, okay. You know, you and Miss Polk are not married, so you're both free to do whatever you choose to do. But honesty in a relationship is important.
Yes, ma'am. I agree.
You know, I read the police report and it looked like it was a little bit more than just a backhand slap across the face. there was a witness who told the police, and probably that person is who called law enforcement, that they saw you punch her with fists several times, and her face was swollen, and there was obvious indication to the police officer who came out that she had been struck more than just by a slap across the face. But be that as it may, what have you learned from this experience?
For one, I've learned keep my hands to myself and to always be honest. Honesty is the best policy. This is truly a wake-up call. You know, my life is on the line. You know, I just finished doing 23 years. I never thought I'd be back in this position. It's definitely an eye opener. And I just beg that y'all have compassion to just give me one more chance. I can, and I know I will do better. You know, I'm thriving. I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. But
All right.
you know,
I hear you, Mr. Joseph. Ms. Maribel, that's all I have.
Hey, Ms. Wise?
So if you were successful today and you were released, where would you live?
in Lake Charles
With who?
with my brother.
Okay, and how would you support yourself?
But my job is still on the table. I was working so good, they actually holding my job in hopes that I was released.
Okay, as best they can, huh? So you would live with your brother and work at McDonald's if you're successful today. What would you do about relationships? What have you learned about relationships going forward?
Right now, I'm not trying to be committed. I'm trying to focus on myself, get myself together.
Do you have any grandchildren?
No, ma'am.
All right, that's all I had, Jim.
Thank you very much. Now we'll hear from those here to speak on your behalf. We'll hear from Ms. Gertrude Polk. Ms. Polk?
Hello,
Yes, ma'am. If you'll introduce yourself, please, and tell us what you'd like us to know about what happened that day.
my name is Gertrude Post, and on the day prior to the incident, it was just something that just transpired. I rolled up on him to see him, and he was cheating. He just wasn't being honest with me. So I felt like it was just time for me to just show up. And when I showed up, that's what I saw, and I attacked him. I mean, we don't have any we don't talk, we don't have any communication. I just then when I talked to the DA was just like, he's not gonna be, reprimanded. They were gonna release him. I live in New Orleans. He live in Lake Charles. We have a grown son together. We don't have to see each other. But I just don't want to see him in jail, I do want him to, to be able to live free.
Let me ask you this, ma'am. How badly were you injured?
It wasn't bad, and he didn't punch me. It was just his reflex. It was his reflex. I attacked him when I jumped out the car. The car was actually moving when I jumped out of it. So when I jumped out the car, then it just went from there. He was just defending himself. I'm not trying to make excuses for what happened, because what happened, but yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions?
No.
Thank you,
Okay.
Ms. Polk. Now we'll
Thank
hear
you.
from Ms. Mary Joseph. Ms. Joseph, are you there? Not connected. All right, how about Mr. Joshua Joseph? Sir, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we can hear you. If you would please introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like us to know about your brother.
Good morning, Your Honor and staff. My name is Joshua. I represent McDonald's Lake Charles. I run 2 restaurants out here. I want to speak on the behalf of my brother. He came a long way. He accomplished a lot at the restaurant. He was on a elevation to be demoted to a department manager. I also have with me his certificate, his serve safe, so he can serve, make sure that the food is being served correctly at each restaurant. I do suggest to him that he put a stay away order or whatever the case may be when it comes down to relationships, and if it causes a problem, that's what he need to do. He do need to focus on himself. I agree with him. He accepted that. I think that he know what he need to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. We appreciate your comments. Have we gotten Miss Mary Joseph? Ms. Joseph, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, tell us what you'd like us to know about this case and your son, please.
The only thing that I know that he had an altercation with Gertrude. And when I found out about it and that he was locked up again, it kind of like really hurted my heart because I didn't know him to be that kind of person because hitting somebody. I know that's not him. It was shocking to me. And I'm just asking for him to have another opportunity to get a chance and for him to get it right because he wasn't raised like that. And that just was shocking to me to know that happened because he knew I had mental stuff too. So yeah, that was just shocking. So I'm just asking for him another opportunity because I know sometimes being incarcerated for a long time like that, he has to get himself like really established, and for is like just focusing on himself. I think it was just to the extreme, like just coming out being free. He had to get adjusted to it, and he was really being favored.
Thank you, Ms. Joseph. We appreciate your comments. Mr. Joseph, why don't you go ahead and finish up your statement to us and then we'll vote.
Yes, sir. I'm just asking for the board to have compassion. I am aware of my mistake. I've truly learned from it. This is definitely an eye opener. Like I say, I've done over 2 decades already. I've lost 2 decades of my life. I just want the opportunity to do right. I want to make people proud. This is not who I am as a person. I am not a mess up. I am not a mess. I can make it. I truly can. I just ask that y'all have mercy and just give me another chance.
All right, Mr. Joseph, thank you very much for your comments. Board ready to vote? Mr. Joseph, I've listened to what you had to say. I read the police reports, listened to Ms. Polk. I think this was more significant than either of the two of you suggested it was. I think that, a lot of this was caused by you. And you didn't know she was coming, but you were in some sort of a relationship with her. You weren't being honest with her. And I believe probably when she drove up, the wood hit the fire, Everybody got all upset and angry. You hit her a lot more than what you suggested that you hit her. I think it was a situation that could have been avoided by your honesty. And maybe some counseling or something on your part. You have done all right on parole. You'd only been out a very short period of time before this happened. You were at home, I assume, minding your own business when this developed. So there are some circumstances here that I can understand that led to this, but what you did was a crime. And my vote today is I'm not going to vote to revoke you, but I'm going to add as a condition of your parole that you attend a 26-week DBOP program, domestic violence program. It will teach you some things about anger. It'll teach you some things about decision-making. It may teach you some things about relationships as you go forward. It sounds like you've been fairly honest with us today, and I think you've learned a lot from this horrible mistake that you made. So that's my vote, and I'm only one of three. So we'll wait and see what everybody else says. So, Ms. Jackson?
All right, Mr. Joseph, my vote is the same. I think you have learned from your mistake today. And so my vote would be to do not revoke, return you to supervision with the added conditions of domestic violence programs.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Ms. Wise?
Sir, I must admit, when I read the case last night, this is not my vote. But because the victim is here, she admitted she started the fight. She already knew you was fooling around. She had to come and confirm it, and she came ready. But that's your child's mother. There should be a reverence for her because she is your child's mother. Always going forward, be respectful. Your son needs to see you respecting his mother. That's how he's going to treat women. How you model before him. Be mindful of that. I'm gonna take a chance on you as well. I'm gonna do not revoke. I concur with my colleagues and complete that DBOC program. You got a lot of education you need to pass on.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. You have 3 votes, not to revoke, but to add as a special condition that you complete the domestic violence program. I hope you can get your job back. Sounds like your brother is ready to put you back to work. So good luck to you, and learn from this program that you're going to. Good luck to you, sir. Is that the only one we have at Riverbend?
Yeah.
All right. We'll be adjourned at Riverbend at 9:19.